Hey, you know what? The leaves are starting to fall. The water's cooling down. The fish are starting to put on their big time fall feeding binge. And there's no place that I'd rather be than on the Rock River here. Joining me today is my good buddy Austin Ragotzkie. I'm used to him picking my pocket in NWT tournaments, but him and I enjoy a bunch of time out here on the ice. So it's cool to get you in the boat here and go out and have a good day. And we're gonna bring you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, just looking for the next bite.
It's no secret, when the water cools, walleyes start to put on the feed bag in order to put on the weight and prepare themselves for the winter months. For this reason, Tommy loves fishing in the fall, especially in river systems because the current congregates bait fish, and in turn, the walleyes. Tommy grew up cutting his teeth on the Rock River, and it's his favorite place to fish. One of the best parts is the size of fish has significantly increased in recent years.
4 years ago, these would all be like the good ones.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, that's...
Yeah, supper.
Well, it's good to see different year classes. Like, I don't feel like these fish are all like the same, you know?
Right.
With the average size on the rise, it's a great place to go catch a ton of fall walleyes.
So one of the locations that we're fishing today is actually a tributary. It's another river that flows into the Rock River. And I feel like these are always good spots in the fall because you've got a couple different things happening. You usually have kind of a washout or a deeper hole in the bottom from where that other tributary is flowing in. So, you know, anytime you have a deeper hole in a river system, especially this time of year, you're looking at fish are kind of staging up to winter there. And then you also have, you know, just two different sources of water coming together. So you could have different water temperatures, different water clarities that are merging there. And you'll have bait fish from the tributary coming back down into the main river or going up. And so it's just going to kind of congregate that bait fish and that life, which those walleyes are going to stop there because, you know, this time of year, their main focus isn't spawning like in the spring. It's eating, you know, bulking up before winter. So anytime you're on a river system this time of year and you have that tributary flowing in, it's definitely always worth stopping and taking a look. It's always a key spot.
There he is.
Decent?
Yeah, he smoked it. Big head shakes. Yeah, that's a nice fish. Yeah, he's pretty decent. Big head shakes. Yeah, big head shakes. He freaking clobbered it. Oh yeah, nice
fish.
Yep. Here he comes. All right. There we go.
Chunky one.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, we're fishing near a feeder river that's pouring in. It's got a little bit lighter colored water. The rock here is real dark and muddy, but you can tell that these fish are pushing up into that cleaner water to feed.
Yeah, more of that gold color.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. No doubt he wanted that gulp, huh? Little watermelon pearl. Nice. Little fire tiger hybrid jig. 3/16 kind of seems to be the deal with the jig trolling that I'm doing up front. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute here, but let's get this one back. Nice fish. There he goes.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. And Power Pole, total boat control.
Next bite.
Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Whitewater, built to brave the waves. An important fact about this year on the Rock River is the low water level and lack of current. When the water is high and fast moving, Tommy likes to vertically jig for walleyes. But with less current, a great technique is jig trolling. This option is great for a few reasons. You're able to get your baits back further behind the boat, which is necessary because the boat is more likely to spook the fish in shallower water. Additionally, it allows you to easily control the speed of your bait, which gives you the ability to easily impart more or less action.
So today we are jig trolling. We've got low flow in the river here. Perfect setup for jig trolling where you're pulling the jigs downstream just a little bit faster than the current. For this setup, what I've found is that I like to run 2 of my vertical jigging rods off the bow of the boat, which in this case it's a 6/8 medium heavy extra fast rod. You've heard me talk a lot about the extra fast rod for vertical jigging. Of course, I love that Revo Rocket. High gear ratio reel makes it really nice to pick up on the line when you set the hook. The other setup that we're using is a 7'2" medium light fast rod with monofilament. This is the rod that we're running the lighter jigs off of in the back. The monofilament plays a very key role in it, but you want that medium light setup to absorb a lot of the shock because you're essentially dragging that jig across the bottom. So for any sort of long lining jig trolling or long lining dragging technique, I like that medium light fast rod. Looks like a decent one, huh?
Yeah, feels decent.
All right. It's so hard to tell on that mono. There's so much stretch in it, but it's such an important part of the deal. Net worthy?
50-50.
With this mono, it's kind of hard to tell, you know? Oh yeah, that's a decent. All right. Another sauger. Oh yeah. Sauger, eh?
Oh, he gutted it.
Yeah. Oh man, that thing smoked it, Austin. Look at that.
You can't even see the jig.
No, no, the old pearl silver. And we're definitely going to need the bleeders on this one. Yeah, look at that thing. It's gone. Holy cats. That one was not coming off. There we go. I'll tell you what though, that is just a testament again, and we talk about it a lot, that 4-inch gulp minnow. But to just be basically dead sticking.
That was in the rod holder.
And have that thing eat it, like that's legit. So nice sauger. Let's get that one back.
Right on.
Nice sauger.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
Hey, let me talk about one of my favorite baits out there, and that's the flicker shads. It all started with the, the number 7 and the number 5 flicker shad. And what we did was design this as a shad bait, but one that had great rattles in it, great coloration in it, had a nice roll to it, so it had an action that threw off a lot of flash and shine, and just as a great, put it on your line, let it out, and a lot of times it catches fish. Now the original flicker shads came in 5 different sizes, all the way down from a number 4, 5, 6, 7, and then all the way up to a number 9. In general, what you want to do is if you're in a tough fishing situation, you want to downsize a little. If you're in a situation where you're around a lot of big fish or the fish are aggressive, you want to go to a little bit bigger baits. Now, the second set of baits in the family is the jointed flicker shad. Comes in a number 5 and a number 7 again. The key there is that this is a little bit more aggressive bait with that jointed tail on it. It's really going to swing around, have a little bit more snaky action to it. And then the final bait in the family is the shallow flicker shads. And this is a bait that was kind of hard to design because what we wanted to do is take the number 5 and 7 shallow and give it the same action as the original 5 and 7 deep running shad wraps. A little bit hard to do, but we had some great engineers working behind it. We got it done. So it's, again, got that great roll, got the great rattles in it, got the right profile to the bait. It's just for when you're up trolling shallow or even casting shallows for walleyes. So the flicker shads, again, one of my favorite baits. It's caught me a ton of fish, and if you look at the different families, I think it'll catch a ton for you too.
Something often overlooked when using a light lead head jig is what your line does to the action of the bait. A braided line is going to have much stiffer, faster, and aggressive movement. Monofilament, it's going to be much more subtle because of the stretch in the line.
So there's two very key line setups that I used today. Number one was the 6-pound fire line, which is my go-to for any sort of vertical jigging that I do. The reason that I like the 6-pound is it cuts through the water real well, but it also, you know, part of jig fishing is you're going to lose some jigs, you're going to get hung up. It's a lot easier to break the 6-pound off versus the heavier line. It just puts a lot less stress on your tackle. But one of the keys today was the mono setup. The reason that I like the mono is that it's a lot more forgiving, meaning there's a lot of stretch in it. So as you're dragging that jig down across the bottom and that jig is making contact, that line actually, it almost acts like a spring where it helps that jig to kind of skip and bounce along the bottom. You're going to get a lot less snags. The other thing, because it does have a lot of stretch, when a fish grabs a hold of it, it's a little, again, like there's a little bit less resistance. It gives the fish a little bit of better opportunity to get a good grip on the jig. It also gives you a little bit of extra time to swing on the fish. The other thing, the high vis comes in very handy also for being able to kind of see what that jig is doing back there. In a lot of cases, you're going to see that bite transmit through the line before you feel it at the rod. That's also going to help out when it comes to keeping that jig fishing nice and clean and getting a lot less snags. So jig trolling, or for sure jig dragging, you absolutely want to use monofilament, and I love the 8-pound XT Solar. There he is.
See the net?
Yeah, it feels like a pretty good one, Austin. Oh yeah, fish, Austin. Oh yeah, yep.
Coming.
Yeah, it's decent.
That looked like a nice fish.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
Nice.
Nice fish. Yeah, that's a good one. About 20 inches or so.
On that heavier jig?
Yeah, I just switched up. You know, we're basically jig trolling here, and the reason that I like this technique in here right now is the water is really low and slow. So, you know, the boat going over these fish, a lot of times they don't like that, as you know, and they get pressured off of it. So we're long lining our jigs here, but on this last pass, I went to a little bit heavier jigs, which gets gives you a little bit more angle on the line, picks that jig up off bottom a little bit, and well, paid off. So let's get back at it. But yeah, it's a nice fall fish. They're just starting to bulk up,
Fill up, yeah.
But
So you can tell some are
yeah, for sure.
ahead of the curve and a little behind her.
Yep. The old white gulp. All right, we'll get her back. So today our two jig setups were on the long line, the mono line. We were running a 3/32 ounce jig. This one was basically dragging along the bottom. I like that 3/32 ounce size for that. In some situations I'll go up to an 1/8 ounce, but most of the time I'm gonna pull a 3/32. Up front with the heavier jig, I was using a 3/16 ounce jig. This is the new hybrid jig. Fishes really nice on that 4-inch gulp minnow. That was our jig setup, and for this jig trolling technique, this is pretty much the deal that you're going to want to focus on them with. Good one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back there.
He's staying down. He's heavy. Ooh, this could be a really good fish. If it's the right species, this is what we're looking for.
Oh, nice fish.
Nice scoop.
Nice. Good job, man.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that is a good one. Just come on down here. We kind of were calling it. Here, go ahead, grab it. That's your fish. That wind calmed down a little bit here and sun's starting to poke through and they're here. It just got, that wind was blowing so hard it got a little bit muddy, you know?
Just needed that water to flush out a little bit.
Fish. Look at that. Nice fat one. Nice fish. Did he smoke it or what?
Oh yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool thing is we got some light left here. I think
Could be another good pass or two
we're
in
gonna
there.
do some damage here for sure. All right, get that one back. Nice job, man. Nice fish.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Lowrance. The ultimate fishing system. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
Hey, so I want to talk a little bit about the performance of this beast. This is the Mercury Verado V10. I've run it for a couple of years now, and just kind of talk a little bit about making prop changes and how to do that and things that might be a little bit different than in the past. First things first is the RPM range is so important to pay attention to. And it's gonna differ around the Midwest, and that's simply because the elevation changes. So where I wanna be with this motor is in that 59 to 6,000 RPM range when I'm fully loaded. Because then when you get a little bit lighter, run out of gas a little bit, you know, maybe only have yourself in the boat, you're in that 6,200 to 6,300 RPM range, which is absolutely perfect for max speed and max performance out of this boat. But in terms of changing props, and it's just a whole different animal, right? This Revolution X prop for this engine is huge compared to what we've had in the past. The hub is huge, so the prop nut is also huge. It's actually 1.7 inches. But basically what I've seen is most of these motors are coming with a 27 pitch prop, but I've went back and forth depending on elevation changes from the 25, this is a 25 pitch Revolution X, to the 27 pitch. So depending on where you are, dial in that RPM range, get yourself a big prop wrench, and you're gonna see performance out of an outboard that you've never seen before with this V10 Verado.
One impressive thing about professional anglers like Tommy and Austin are the small things they do in the boat to help improve their fishing. Using different lines and changing jig sizes or bait colors are all great options to help you catch more fish.
Anytime that you're using monofilament, if you notice your line starting to get twisted up, one great tip that I can share with you is just cut your bait off, just let that line out into the water as you're running upstream, and just feed out a bunch of that line. And what I'll do is I'll let out, you know, a couple casts worth of line, and I'm just gonna hold that rod. And as you move upstream or through the lake or whatever, just the force of the line on the water is going to pull all the line twist out. Just tie your jig right back on there and you're good to go.
Doing all the right things. That's a nice fish.
Oh yeah, nice.
Sweet.
That is another good fish, man. I'll tell you what, What a day.
Just nice and thick, good healthy fish.
I'll tell you what, another nice fish. You know, not the biggest fish that we've caught today, but we're starting to run out of light. You and I have shared a bunch of time on the ice out here on this lake, and this is the first time that we've gotten a chance to fish in the boat for walleyes anyways. You showed me how to catch some coho this spring, but I'll tell you what, you cannot beat these fall bites on any of the river systems, and this Rock River system is a real special one. So hey man, I really enjoyed fishing with you. I look forward to next time.
For sure.
Oh. Hey Robert, listen, you're supposed to remind me to get gas this morning.
Well, we're upriver from where we started. So that's always a plus. Better up than down.
Let's do a gas tip.
All right. You always run out of gas upriver from where you launched. Downriver, no good. Up is okay. You'll make it back.
So one of the important things on the checklist is making sure there's enough gas in the boat. And you know how fired up I get about catching these walleyes on the Rock River. Well, this morning my mind was on the walleyes, not so much on the gas in the tank. So fortunately my buddy Jim here is bailing us out with a can of gas so we can keep fishing.
I couldn't have picked a better spot to run out of gas there. Are we frying the line?
Where's the ball? Where's the ball?
The prime, hey, this is called the prime of shame right here.